Last week, Big Bro Dylan showed the circuit he can still blow their doors off. After a rough and tumble night on Eldora's dirt, the trucks pull into Pocono, where hard hits and tough racing lead to a high-speed sprint to the finish. Coulter captured his first career win here last season. Does the defending champ hold off his hard-charging competition? Can another young gun visit victory lane? Or will Crafton pad his points lead? It all comes down to a 50-lap dash at the Tricky Triangle. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is next. It's not too late to resuscitate.
Welcome to the beautiful countryside of Long Pond, Pennsylvania, as we're preparing for the Pocono Mountains 125, presented by Toyota. A lot of storylines to cover. The rain is out of the area, the track is drying, and Miguel Paludo will start on pole after being fastest in practice yesterday. Qualifying rained out. He will be one to watch as he's looking for his first win in the Camping World Truck Series. All teams were pointing at Germán Quiroga as another potential first-time winner. He starts up front. He'll be in the 4th position today. Back in a truck, the 30 of Todd Bodine. Yes, he's in the 30 with Turner Scott Motorsports after starting the season with Thor Sport. Looking very strong. He'll start 7th today when the green flag flies. And everyone has to keep their eye on our points leader, Matt Crafton. He starts in the top 10 in the 9th position, and he hasn't finished out of the top 10 in all 10 races this year. Turning out to be a gorgeous day in Pocono. After the rains have passed, the track is drying very nicely. Track dryers out there trying to finish up the drying process of this 2.5-mile triangular racetrack. Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip with you once again. One of the biggest storylines we have to talk about when we come to Pocono is the length of this race. Only 50 laps, 125 miles. Mikey, you got to be up on the wheel from the drop of the green flag.
And you know what's most important, Rick? You've got to start this race with a truck that's fairly close. I mean, you're not going to be able to make enough adjustments to get from left field to in contention. So these teams are really nervous about this racetrack right now. It's changed quite a bit. All the rubber's been washed away, so they're going to have to see how those changes to the track affects the way the trucks handle. And Phil, this is a tough racetrack. We talked about the tunnel turn. We talked about how tough turn 1 is because of all the speed. And we joked about turn 3 being a piece of cake. It's not. You've got to get off turn 3 to carry speed down this long French straightaway. So the challenges here are multiple, and they're also very, very tough.
What about the possibility of, even though it's very tough, a first-time winner coming out of this?
I think it's very possible. 2 of the best trucks we saw in practice were Miguel Paludo, who was the fastest truck, as well as the 77, Germán Quiroga. There's Germán right there. He was a pole sitter earlier this year. Germán, with 2 top 10 finishes, a best of 3rd at Texas. He's a guy that can get it done. He's the 3-time champion in NASCAR Mexico. This may be an opportunity. We don't have any Kyle Busch in the field. He's a 32-time winner in the Truck Series. Kevin Harvick is a 14-time winner in the Truck Series. Kevin won one of the 3 races we had here. Elliott Sadler, a Cup winner, also won one of those races. Last year, it was Joey Coulter that won one for the regulars. And I think today is going to be another day that a regular is going to get to victory lane.
Is it advantageous that this is such a short race that you have 4 out of the top 5 starting positions, guys that haven't won yet?
Yeah, I think absolutely. And again, as Michael talked, you're not going to have time to do a whole lot to these trucks. And especially if you make the pit stop under green, because these guys can go about 30, 32 laps. If they have to make a green flag pit stop, you don't want to spend all that time on pit road. You want to get out there in about 13, 14 seconds. And it wouldn't be surprising me to see these guys do 2 tires to try to keep that track position.
You know what I love? It's a sprint race. It's a big track and it's a short race. So these guys understand exactly the goal and the challenges. They got to go hard, and they got to go early, and that means a lot of action.
Similar to what we saw a week ago. 40-lap last segment at Eldora. This one's only 50 laps, so a very short race. We got to be up on the wheel right from the drop of the green flag. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on speed by Toyota. Let's go places. Brought to you in part by Camping World, America's largest retailer of RVs, parts, accessories, and service. Visit campingworld.com today. By Aleve, 2 pills, all day strong, all day long. And by STP, STP and go. Welcome back. Sun beating down on the 2.5-mile Pocono Speedway as we're getting ready for the Pocono Mountains 125 presented by Toyota. Let's head to trackside and pit road and Hermie Sadler.
Well, Ross Chastain back behind the wheel of the 19 truck this weekend. A fast truck, that is. Great practice. And I talked to Miguel Paludo. He has no idea what's going to happen on the start. Do you?
I wish he'd hurry up and tell me which way he's going to pick. He can have the bottom if he wants it. I'd really like to be able to roll around the top on the first lap. You know, these trucks are real aero dependent, and I don't want anybody on my right side just like no one else does. So I think if he, I don't know, if I have my choice, I'd be on the outside, but it's up to him.
This is a relatively short race, only 50 laps. Does it change your strategy behind the wheel?
We've got a couple different scenarios that we can, I don't know. It all depends on how it plays out. If there's cautions, if it's like the ARCA race and we run all 50 green, then everybody will be in the same boat. But you know, I don't know. It all depends on if you're in the top 5 or if we fall back. If we were really tight in practice. So if we're still too tight to keep up with the leaders, then we're going to change our strategy as it goes and try to make something out of it. But I feel like we've got the speed in the truck. I mean, this Mellon 1 F-150 is fast. And I haven't been able to say that a whole lot in my career. We're getting more and more consistent on saying that this year. There's still a long way for us to go. So, you know, we'll see how it plays out. But I feel like we've got the speed to stay up there with these guys. We might be one more adjustment away. But, you know, even though it's 50 laps, you still got a chance to work on it. So that's all I need.
That's Ross Chastain. And Ray, he knows he'll start on the front row. He's just not sure outside or inside.
Well, Hermie, Norm Benning will be making his 104th start in the Camping World Trucks today here at Pocono, and I don't think he's taken this Eldora hat off. You've probably been sleeping in that thing. It had to have been the highlight of your career, Norm. Tell us about that heat race and how much fun it was for you making it in the last chance qualifier.
As I keep saying, I was looking forward to that race the day they announced they were going to do it. I have a background on dirt, and we made a lot of preparations to run that race, and I was not going to go home. I'm looking at the replay. 68, I think he wanted to be in that race too. But, you know, I used every ounce of talent I have and made the show, and I love Tony Stewart's racetrack.
You know, the truck that he had at that racetrack got torn up, guys, and he went all the way up to upstate New York to pick up a brand new truck to bring here to the racetrack today. So Norm will roll off at the back of the field, but he's got a big smile on his face.
And I think that smile is going to stay on his face for quite some time. Norm obviously had a great start to 2013 at Daytona, made one of the more impressive moves to avoid contact with some of the incidents that took place on the track. But as Ray said, probably the biggest race of his career was that last chance qualifier at Eldora.
Well, the reason why it had to be so special for Norm was the reaction of his competitors. The guys he races against each week were so happy to see him fight his way into the race. Now, obviously, Clay Greenfield, well, he wanted it too, just like Norm said, and he was racing hard to get there. But Norm's been here week in and week out, and he's been here a long time, and it's just such a heart-feeling story to watch him perform like that. Norm, when you see him in the garage area, he's always optimistic. He thinks he's going to have a truck that he's going to get his best finish with every week. And to see him just battle his way, show his heart and his passion to get into that race at Eldora, that was a special moment for me. I'll never forget that.
But how about the reaction from Ty Dillon and Brendan Gaughan and Richard Childress? Yeah. I mean, we were sitting in that broadcast booth, and the ovation from the fans was deafening. It really was for Norm Benning to get in that race. I mean, the fans appreciated it, we appreciated it, and his other competitors appreciated it as well.
And that was just a beginning to a magical night for the Truck Series in Eldora, and also for dirt racing in general. I've been at a couple dirt tracks this week, and I think it just shined a bright light on dirt track racing all across the country. We know Tony Stewart and a lot of the guys down in the garage area, Ryan Newman, they cut their teeth on dirt. They still go back to dirt tracks and race. I raced with Schrader the other night, Sterling Marlin. Guys just love dirt racing, and it's so cool that such a positive light got shined on it. And I know there's probably more people at the dirt races this weekend that's been in a long time, and that's a lot thanks to speed and that special event up in Eldora.
And we are at the halfway point of the season. That's probably the feel-good moment. If we were going to give out an award, the feel-good moment of the 2013 season. Track drying continuing. The sun and a little breeze helping out as well. So track drying going very quick. Who can get back to victory lane in 2013? Ty Dillon, Brendan Gaughan have got wins in the series. They're looking for another. Just finishing up track drying for the Pocono Mountains 125 presented by Toyota. And trucks being pushed out onto pit road. That is a great sign after they were covered up and in the garage for most of the morning. Getting closer to green flag and race time. The last time we raced on asphalt, it was Timothy Peters that looked oh so good at Iowa Speedway. Back at the end of July 24th, Timothy Peters back in victory lane and quite a celebration. Let's hear from him. Here's with Bray.
Well, he gets to look at that monitor and gets a little smile on your face about back to victory lane. You've had a couple of top 10s here at Pocono, but when I listened to you guys in practice, I heard a bit of concern in your voice.
A little bit. We wholesaled our whole Parts Plus Tundra for today's race. You know, just off the liftgate, it didn't run as well as what I'd like to it. But, you know, I got all the confidence, and Butch and all the guys on this team give me a great Parts Plus Tundra for today. So, you know, I'm optimistic. We got 50 laps, which goes by in a hurry. So we just get out of here with the best finish possible and keep gaining on these points.
When you take a look at the schedule, Timothy, of what's coming up, Matt Crafton's just been popping out these top 10s. Where is your best opportunity to gain on him in our next few races?
You know, we want to get through here in Michigan, but we really feel like Bristol we can capitalize. Obviously, we had a really good truck there last year, and we're going back with the exact same setup of a brand new truck, the same truck we won Iowa with. So, like I said, we just want to get through here, want to get to Michigan. We had a really good race here last year, and I wrecked over there on the tunnel turn, totally my fault. So, want to redeem myself here. We didn't have a great run in Michigan. I want to redeem myself there. And, you know, when we come to the summer stretch right here, we always shine, and we want to do that on into Homestead.
All right, good luck to you. Hope you have a good run. Timothy Peters today will roll off from the 18th starting spot. Hermie?
Well, right behind him in 20th will be Dakota Armstrong. And Dakota, we got a lot going on right now. No qualifying, rain this morning, sun's out now. We don't know what the track is going to be like, and you got to have a plan in place to get from 20th up front. What is your plan? Have you guys talked about strategy? How do you plan to attack this race once we go green?
Well, we're going to have to go fast, that's for sure, only being 50 laps. But we were pretty loose in practice yesterday, and now the track's got no rubber, a little bit of jet oil, I'm sure. So, and we're back in traffic. So we're hopefully we tightened it up enough for this. Our guys are going to work at it hard. We don't have a lot of time. You know, we'll probably do, one pit stop. Have to see how that plans out. So hopefully it's all right, and we'll see what happens.
This racetrack obviously has 3 corners that are very, very different. Did you guys focus on one particular area of the racetrack in practice? Where do you think you'll be good at? And if anywhere, where will you have to sacrifice?
We've been pretty good in 3. We've really struggled in 1. So, that's where we're focusing on right now. Just because there's a lot of time being made up there with these trucks and, the way they drag getting in there, you really got to be able to charge the corner. Kind of makes it tough going in, that fast to make sure everything's right. But we'll see. I think we're definitely a lot better. We'll take our, number 60 Winfield Chevy and see what we can do with it.
Well, that's Dakota Armstrong. A lot of unknowns by drivers and crew chiefs, and when we have unknowns, that's a lot of fun for us to talk about on TV.
Definitely, Hermie. Dakota Armstrong, a driver that we could say could be in contention for this one. Timothy Peters, what an amazing season he has had already. If we break it into the first 5 races versus the last 5 races, the tale of 2 different seasons.
Well, we expected him to be one of our championship contenders right out of the box, and he didn't have the start to the season that we all expected, but he has proven in the last 5 races that he is a guy that will contend for this championship, and I fully expect that to continue as we go on.
Those are some Tony Stewart numbers there. You start slow and you heat it up when the sun comes up. Gets a little bit warm outside, and Timothy was right in Iowa, and I look for him to be really strong today.
Timothy Peters, definitely one of the drivers we'll keep our eye on. How about Joey Coulter sporting the Fox Sports 1 colors? Again, that launch taking place August 17th. We'll be back for more from Pocono after this. Welcome back. Partly cloudy skies overhead continue to help the track drying process as we're getting ready for the Pocono Mountains 125 presented by Toyota. 10 races already in the books. And I think it's about time that we can start talking about a championship as we take a look at our Toyota point standings after 10 of our 22 races. Matt Crafton has a 48-point lead right now over Jeb Burton. He's been the most consistent driver week in and week out. James Buescher trying to defend his title, become the first ever driver to go back-to-back with championships in the Camping World Truck Series. But he's got the challenges in front of him. James Buescher started off slow. We've seen him start off slow and battle back, so he still is in contention as this championship is still up for grabs with 12 races to go. So you've got Matt Crafton out there. Does he have to falter to open the door for some of these other drivers?
Well, definitely, and we don't see that coming. Phil talked about how strong he finished the 2012 season and started off this season the same way. So Matt's got this thing in hand, but there's some really interesting guys that are gaining some momentum. I talked earlier about Bubba Wallace, 4 out of 5 top 10 finishes lately. Jeb Burton has been very tough since the season started. He thinks he's still a contender. And don't rule out Johnny Sauter yet. That's Matt's teammate. He won the first 2 races of the season. He's had some turmoil, but they seem to be treading water right now. If they can get on a roll, he could contend as well.
Guys, remember in the Nationwide Series that the lead that Regan Smith had, it was over 50 points, I believe. And in 3 or 4 races, he fell to second, 7 or 8 points out. So this thing is certainly not over by a long shot. And the thing for the competitors to feel good about is the fact that there's nobody in between Matt and 48 points behind Jeb Burton. So they don't have to leapfrog. You may be 70 points behind, but you don't have to leapfrog a bunch of people that are 40 and 50 points ahead of you. There's only one guy that's way out there. If he has any trouble whatsoever, and again, as you said, Michael, we don't expect it, but if he does and anything can happen, then he's going to bring a lot of people back into this race.
And just think about Timothy Peters. He won in Iowa. He's got a little bit of momentum. Ty Dillon challenged for a championship a year ago. So the names are there's plenty of guys that can win this championship if Matt has any problem at all.
Let's hear from a guy who could win this race today. He's standing by with Hermie.
Well, Rick, this team with Herman Quiroga is really heading in the right direction, getting close to victory lane. I've asked 4 or 5 drivers, haven't got an answer yet. I'm asking you, what's going to happen when they drop the green flag and you go down in turn 1, 2 or 3 wide? What's your plan?
Well, I watched last race last year, and everybody wanted to win places before coming to the first turn. So my plan is the same thing, but I don't want to go like 3 wide into turn 1. I want to be patient. There's a lot of laps, 50 laps. My truck, Otterbox Tundra is like very fast. So I can wait, I can be patient, and hopefully we can be by turn 2, 1 lane, and start working from there.
What's been the biggest difference for you as your team has improved? What's been the biggest difference you've seen in the trucks that have allowed you to go faster?
Well, you know, all the development that Timothy Peters have done for the past years, and now all the engineers working together. Dan, I just met him, my crew chief, when I first arrived to Daytona. So I think now things are starting to come together. I'm more used to the truck. I think I'm more comfortable, and that's how things start to click. So new sponsor for 3 races now, and hopefully I can bring my first win to Mexico and for my Otterbox Net 10 Toyota Tundra.
When you talk about potential first-time winners, you got to put this guy in the mix. Ray?
Well, Hermie, I've got another one of those guys. Bubba Wallace, certainly on that list of potential first-time winners. He'll roll off 5th today. You guys were excellent in practice. Tell me about your opportunity to win today.
I wouldn't say excellent. It took me all but 10 minutes to figure it out, and I finally did. And we picked it up. So big shout out to Matt Crafton for helping me out. Went down there and talked to him and found out that I was way off driving-wise, and then finally got our Toyota Tundra pretty well, and it was pretty good, so I'm happy with it.
I want to show you some video. Will you look right over here at this screen? Now, we found this on Instagram. Now, I'm pretty sure this is at your place. Your buddy Ryan here is doing a little Dougie.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Actually, that's his place. He called me and says, I got an idea, get over to my house. So I drove over there, and that's what happened. I didn't know what to expect, so why not make it fun on an off weekend?
If you win, maybe we'll see the Dougie in victory lane. How's that?
I got to learn from him, though.
All right, okay. We'll see if Bubba Wallace can get there.
Thanks, Ray. Teach me how to Dougie. That's the youth in this series.
Yeah. You know, the thing I love about Herman Quiroga, he said, I want to be patient. I want to go into turn 1, not 3 wide. But when we get to turn 2, then I'm going to be racing. He's going to be patient for all of 1 turn.
And he said there's a lot of laps. He said there's 50 laps in this race. We've talked about that being not very long.
Teach me how to Dougie.
I don't even want to try that one. Pre-race ceremonies are about to get underway. We've got drivers on the track. We've got trucks on pit road. We're about to see the green flag. Stay with us. When we come to the Pocono Mountains, weather always seems to be an issue as we're getting ready for the Pocono Mountains 125 presented by Toyota. The track drying is complete. That means it's about time for the drivers to strap into their trucks and get underway with 50 laps, 125 miles of nail-biting, door-to-door racing. Well, maybe not nail-biting for Ty Dillon as he kicks back, getting ready to climb into his truck. Let's get the pre-race ceremonies underway. We head trackside.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Wilkes University Air Force ROTC Detachment 752 presents our nation's colors. Remain standing as Nick Perry from Motor Racing Outreach offers today's invocation.
Let's pray together. Father in heaven, we pause and we praise your great name. God, we thank you for all the blessings that you give us. God, we thank you for hearing our prayers, and we come before you again and ask that you would give us a great race today, but most of all, a safe race. We thank you for the freedom to be able to do what we love. We ask that you bless our troops and keep them safe while they serve our country. And most of all, we thank you for your son, Jesus, and the gift of salvation. It's in his name we pray. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome singer, songwriter, and morning show host on 98.5 KRZ, 107.9 in the Poconos, Melissa Kroenke. Signing the national anthem today is Kira Uber from the Western Pennsylvania School for the Deaf and the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Drivers climbing into their trucks. We're about ready to fire the engines. That will happen when we come back to Pocono. Tomorrow, before Pocono's green flag drops, turn to NASCAR Race Day as Speed delivers expert analysis, breaking news, and the biggest names in racing. Don't miss NASCAR Race Day tomorrow, 10 Eastern, right here on Speed. Drivers have strapped into their trucks. A great job by the crew here to get this track dry. Let's look at the particulars in our Camping World track description.
As you can look, that none of the banking's the same in either of the three corners. None of the straightaway lengths are the same. This place couldn't be any different, but challenging all three corners, Michael.
Yeah, and the thing that makes it most challenging, Phil, is a tremendous speed. We're talking upwards of 180 miles an hour when we're going down these straightaways, and they barely let off the gas to go through the tunnel, and it's got to get done in a hurry. Look, only 50 laps, 125 miles of racing for over $450,000. That pit window will be interesting. Look for them to pit as soon as they can around lap maybe 20 to get to the finish. That's all brought to you by Toyota. Let's go somewhere, or places.
Exactly.
Let's go places.
We're about to go places. We're about to get the engines fired up so that we can get underway with 50 laps, 125 miles. This race was scheduled to start just after 1 o'clock, about 1:15. So they're inside of 30 minutes that they have been delayed to get this one underway. Let's go back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
You know, Rick, I've had my eye on Johnny Sauter lately. He's 5th in points, but he's 73 points back. That's about a race and a half, and he needs to make some kind of a charge right now. But it's interesting, just a few weeks ago, we found out that his crew chief, Joe Shear, who's been with him for a long, long time, had resigned from Thor Sport Racing. Well, I think it's interesting if we take a look at Johnny Sauter when he's with Joe Shear and when he's not with him. Look at the big difference that you see right here. 8 wins when Shear's around, 0 without him. And look at those average finishes. A very different complexion. He's got 2 Nationwide Series wins with Joe, but this weekend I heard on the radio a very familiar voice. Dennis Conner is here calling the shots from a distance. Jesse Saunders will be his crew chief here this weekend, but Dennis Conner has won a lot of races. 26 times he's been to victory lane. We'll see if Sauter can get things turned around. He's got half a season to get back in this championship hunt.
So once again, drivers are strapped in. A beautiful day it's turned out to be.
Yeah, it's perfect racing conditions, guys. And you know what? I can't figure out who's your favorite to win. I mean, there's no clear-cut truck that stood head and shoulders above the rest. There's no cup drivers that have a lot of experience here. So this race is wide open.
I think I'm going with a first-time winner here.
Ross Chastain, maybe?
He would be my pick.
Ooh, potential first-time winners. Let's get the engines fired. Here's the command.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome our Grand Marshal, Pennsylvania Director of Tourism, Diane McGraw.
Drivers, start your engines.
Good, fired up.
And that is music to everyone's ears here in the Poconos. We're going racing. The Pocono Mountains 125, presented by Toyota, next. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on speed by Toyota. Let's go places. Brought to you in part by STP and Go. And by CarCash.com, the fastest way to sell your car. Trucks are rolling off pit road. Let's go back to pit road and Hermie Sadler.
Well, Rick, you know, in the Camping World Truck Series, we've never had a repeat champion. James Buescher is trying to accomplish that feat this year. He got off to a little bit of a slow start this year, but it looks like things may be turning in the right direction, especially when it comes to Pocono. His last 2 finishes at this racetrack, 3rd and 2nd. So James Buescher is hoping that he can turn the tide, go to victory lane, and get his championship hopes back on track. So far this weekend on the radio, most optimistic I've heard James in a while at the racetrack. So keep your eye on the 31 today.
Thanks, Hermie. Since the sun has come out and we have such a beautiful facility here, we have a lot of cameras that will give you different vantage points. We also will ride along with a few different drivers. Boys, take us through.
We're going to ride along with that 62 of Brendan Gaughan. He comes in this race 7th at points in that Torrid Point battle. Brendan had a bunch of top 5s in a row. He had 6 top 5s in a row earlier this year, trying to get back on track. He will start his South Point Casino Chevrolet from the 15th spot.
How about we hop inside the Fox Sports 1 truck of Joey Coulter. He's starting in the 10th spot. He's the defending champion of the Pocono 125. He's driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports. He's starting 10th. Let's see if we can get a word with him. Hey, Joey, it's Michael up in the speed booth. You got me?
I got you loud and clear.
What kind of shape's the track look in? Dry everywhere? You ready to go?
Looks real good, looks real good. Can't wait to get this thing rolling. I got an awesome looking Fox Sports 1 Tundra this weekend. Super excited to go after this repeat win.
Yeah, you won here a year ago. It's got to give you a little confidence. This is a sprint race. You're starting inside of the top 10. The experts up here in the booth feel like you got to start near the front to get this win. Do you have to go for it from the word go since it's such a short race?
I think so. I mean, that's usually how the truck series is. You know, we don't have time to wait around or anything. So I got a pretty smart crew chief, Harold Holly, sitting on top of the pit box. So I know he's going to play his pit strategy card and keep us up towards the front. Guys on pit road are going to do their jobs, and I'll see if I can get me 2 or 3 here, and we'll be there at the end.
Love the sound of it. Great looking truck, like you said. You got a winner for a crew chief and Harold Holly. Go get him today, friend.
Thanks a lot.
We're also going to ride along with the Onion. A couple people came together to make this happen for Todd Bodine. Team Fox for Parkinson's Research and Wheeling Engineering will put Todd in this Turner Scott Motorsports Chevrolet. First time in 9 years that Todd Bodine has been in anything but a Toyota. And Todd will start his race today from the 7th spot.
We've talked to Armand Carogis from Mexico City, Mexico. He's driving the Otterbox Toyota. He starts 4th. We've seen a lot of speed out of this truck lately, guys. He sat on the pole at Iowa. He's run up front. I think he's got a truck he can win today with, Phil, because it's awful safe. He's got an Otterbox around himself. He can't get any damage.
And he's going to be conservative going in turn 1.
Yeah, but he's going to go for it in turn 2. That's how long he's going to wait.
Through 1 and into Long Pond straightaway, and then the tunnel turn. So many tricky areas on this track, and of course one of the longest straightaways in racing. And welcome back. A great scene. Crowd gathering for the start of the Pocono Mountains 125 presented by Toyota. And out front it will be Miguel Paludo and Ross Chastain.
We heard Ross wondering where he would start, whether it be the inside or the outside. He was hoping for the outside, but looks like Miguel took the high road. That'll leave Ross stuck down on the bottom. That's a tough place to be. We've seen trucks lose traction down there and even spin, so have to be a little bit patient for a lap or two, but that's about all you got to give.
But it's a long way from the start of this race before the start-finish line all the way down to turn number 1. A lot of things can happen.
3, 4 wide maybe, Phil?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Matt Crafton starting in the top 10. That's where he wants to finish. Most top 10s to start a season. Hornaday, 19. He did that back in 1996. Ended up first in points position.
That's incredible. 19 top 10s in a row to start the season.
Man, when this truck series came around and Hornaday showed up driving for Dale Earnhardt, there wasn't much more fun than watching Hornaday and Skinner driving for Childress mix it up for the wins. And the thing is still just as dramatic today.
Crafton trying to move up that list, right?
What was interesting, Rick, was going into Eldora, Matt Crafton was very nervous. You know, that's one of those big question marks. We have that coming up at a road course race. But when we look at the results from there, all the guys behind him in the points finished worse than he did in that race at Eldora. He feels really confident about his truck he has today, and he's the only guy that's completed 100% of the laps so far this season.
That guy, excuse me, Rick, the guy right behind him there, Todd Bodine, you know, he's a veteran. He's been around for a long time, but you don't get these opportunities that often to get in a winning race truck when you're not a full-time racer. I get to race in a car that's a winning car every now and then, and I always just relax at the start. Todd needs to do that. Get him a breath of air. Maybe just hold his spot for a while. Don't try to overdo it earlier, because when you don't race every week, you get yourself in a position to make a mistake. He can't afford that.
And he's in the same equipment that James Buscher's in, that Jeff Burton's in, so we know the stuff is really, really good.
So he's just going to have to be calm. I know we talked about how quick it is, but he's a veteran. He knows how to bide his time. He probably needs to do that on the start.
This is a one-race deal for Todd Bodine. He would like to make it a multiple race deal and continue running with Turner Scott Motorsports. So he could be right now in a resume situation, trying to add to it, maybe even applying for a job at Turner Scott Motorsports. Green flag is finally in the air at Pocono.
Boy, it looked like Bubba Wallace jumped to the outside line from the inside awfully quick there. You're really not supposed to change your lane but until you get to the start-finish line.
Wow, and Ross Chastain was bobbling all over the place. We talked about how hard it was to hold it on the bottom. He couldn't hold it on the bottom. Ran Miguel Paludo up the hill.
Truck sideways.
And can he save it? No, he's going to slide into the wall. That's the 81 of Ricky Ergot. Ergot into the wall, and the caution comes out.
Ricky was making his debut here in the Camping World Truck Series.
Got a little bit of left rear.
Trying to hang it out.
Ricky first chance.
In turn 1.
He had it hung out. Looked like he might be able to save that truck, and it finally got away from him.
We mentioned the mayhem that could take place in turn 1 with those trucks trying to get in there and get positions.
You can see all the damage to that truck. He's narrowed it up quite a bit on the left side. That's going to make for he's going to have a rough 50 laps if he's able to continue, because that's a lot of damage. You see Chastain way up the hill up in the front. And there's Argot. He was on the high side and just got loose and held on to it for a long time. And Phil, you know this. Once you hold it for so long, you got those wheels cranked to the right. Even though it hadn't straightened up yet, you better start turning them to the left.
You have to anticipate that. Right now, turn back to the left. It didn't happen, and that put him in the outside wall.
You got about 2 or 3 seconds there, Rick, where you're hanging on to it and you're like, all right, that's about all I got. I'm gonna head the other way. And Ricky didn't have the experience to know that.
And you touched on this, Phil. You thought that Darrell Wallace may have changed lanes early. Take another look at the start.
Yeah, I thought he jumped to the outside before they got to the start-finish line. He obviously right there changed lanes. He didn't pull up beside the Ford Jet Bird, but nonetheless, he went to the outside before they got to the start-finish line. You can see it very plainly right there, and the NASCAR officials are going to put him to the back.
Yeah, and they should. You can't change lanes before the start-finish line on the start of the race or at any point. So he did just that, and that's going to cost him.
We saw Johnny Sauter lose a race at Texas for doing that very same thing.
David Reagan at Daytona, remember that?
Yep.
Well, we tried to get one lap in at Pocono. We'll try it again when we come back. Tomorrow, after they tangle on the tricky triangle, turn to speed for the ultimate post-race coverage and celebrate with the winner. NASCAR Victory Lane, live from Pocono tomorrow, right after the race, only on Speed. Another vantage point of what took place with the 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr. Phil, you caught it just before the start-finish line. He moved from the inside to the outside. Take another look.
See him back in the third row there. He jumps to the outside, obviously, right before they get to the start-finish line. This is from Todd Bodine's onboard. Watch, right in front of the 29 of Ryan Blaney. Bubba Wallace does move out. There's the start-finish line right there, and he has obviously changed his lane. The guys took the opportunity to come and top it off a little bit with fuel, so they're going to try to make a bad situation a little bit better.
You got to mix it up. He had that great track position, a starting spot inside the top 10 that we think it's going to take to win this race. That's out the window.
2 by 2 once again. They line up. Now it's Aaron Quiroga on the inside. The 19 of Ross Chastain on the outside. Green flag in the air. Jockeying for position as they go to turn 1.
We talked about 4 wide. There's some of that action. They're all over the place as they go to 1.
3 wide and giving a little bit of room there was James Buescher in the 31, but a great start for Ross Chastain jumping out front.
Remember how sketchy these trucks are when you have somebody on your outside. It robs that truck of air off the rear spoiler.
Ryan Blaney's tucked up behind that 19 of Ross Chastain, so those two running 1 and 2 as they go through the tunnel turn.
So don't you know those Brad Keselowski Racing teammates would love to get hooked up here and try to get a little daylight over the third place truck.
See Armand, he's looking on the inside of Jeb as they race down into turn 3 there, get back in single foul. I like what I'm seeing on the start here, Phil. A lot of racing room, even though this track is green, not a lot of rubber on it. The groove is wide, so that can be for some good racing, not only today, but tomorrow as well. These guys have a lot of room to race.
I've always loved this view of these trucks as they come down the front stretch, how they fan out there. You see James Buescher now fanning out, as well as Matt Crafton.
Working to try to get position as they go into turn 1. Joey Coulter showing us the look of that Team Fox number 30 of Todd Bodine, and now down the Long Pond straightaway.
Looks like Coulter's a little bit better as they shoot down the straightaway than Todd. Todd's held up behind Paludo there, so that might have took his momentum away, but we could really see Coulter closing in on Todd on that straightaway.
Along their teammates, too, excuse me, Rick, the 32 of Paludo and the 30 of Todd Bodine are teammates at Turner Scott Motorsports.
And another reason why a truck comes pulling up on you on the straightaways is all the drag these trucks have. A lot of weight behind them. You can really use the draft to pull up.
Momentum through turn 3. You go down the long straightaway into turn 1. But going into turn 2, that tunnel turn, a lot of drivers talk about just barely getting out of the gas, almost trying to hold it wide open going through 2.
And we talked to several drivers down in the garage area that are still trying to get their arms around that. They know it'll work, but they've seen it done, and until you do it the first time, you think, there's no way. That's a flat turn. I can't make it wide open. But these two right here, the Brad Keselowski trucks, they've got to be really near wide open to be leading this race.
Right now, the view Ross Chastain as he looks directly out at the outside wall at the exit of the tunnel turn.
Ross Chastain being shadowed by the 29 of Ryan Blaney.
There's a proud truck owner somewhere down there on pit road.
Probably in one of the pits for one of those two trucks, Brad Keselowski.
Blaney has been to victory lane. Ross Chastain has never. Top 5 now. Ross Chastain, Ryan Blaney, Miguel Paludo, Todd Bodine, and Joey Coulter. As they begin to fan out and spread out. Single file as they go through Long Pond straightaway and now down the main straightaway into turn 1.
Pretty good move early for Timothy Peters. Started way back in the 18th spot. Already up knocking on the door of the top 10 and 11.
Right along with Todd Bodine, we talked about him just being patient at the start. He's driven up to the 4th spot. I think he's got a pretty good handle on this thing. Hermie, what are they saying down there in the pit?
Well, Michael, Todd's been relatively quiet since the green flag fell, but a couple things before we went back to green number 1. Obviously, he was very concerned or inquisitive about where he was going to line up on the restart. Obviously wanted to be on the outside. And secondly, he made a comment about his this weekend teammate, Jeb Burton. He told his spotter to remind the spotter of the 4 truck to tell Jeb under caution to save fuel. He said Jeb was in 2nd gear, revving the engine. He said save a little bit of fuel, may come into play later on today at Pocono. Ray?
Well, Hermie, the weekend started out very interesting for that number 4 team. Jeb Burton went out for practice, and on his very first lap, he made contact with Dominic Casola, who made a big rapid move in the center of the corner. He spun out that Arrowhead Chevrolet, and there was damage to the right side. Mike Hillman Jr. and his guys went to work on it. They fixed it pretty quickly, but they were especially concerned because this is their favorite truck. This is chassis 220. It went to victory lane at Texas and won the pole at Charlotte. Jeb Burton says this truck reacts to their changes the best of any, and he feels like they're really good coming off of the corners and gaining big momentum down those long straightaways.
Jeb Burton currently running in the 6th position, just outside of that top 5. It's Chastain and Blaney still 1 and 2 as the teammates continue to set the pace at Pocono.
They've been hooked up here for a number of laps, but they cannot turn away from that 32 truck of Paludo as we watch the 54 Bubba Wallace try to make his way back towards the front. Right now being shown in the 18th position.
Yeah, he's in 18th, Phil, and that happened in a hurry. You know, he started 36, so he's halfway through the field making great moves. Speaking of making moves, looks like Ryan Blaney has designs on taking the lead away from Ross. Looked to the inside, but then got back in line. Like you talked about Miguel Paludo not getting, not losing ground on these guys. The last time by, Paludo was the fastest truck on the track, so he's got a great truck. And we talked about the draft. He's got those 2 trucks up ahead of him to pull up on. So if he's got a good handling truck with the assist of that draft, he should be the fastest truck.
He's opened up a little bit of gap now over his teammate, the 30 of Todd Bodine. Todd right now is being shown about a 1.5 seconds behind our leader.
Isn't that funny, 1.5 seconds, and there's 2 trucks between them? That's how tight truck racing is. And I love the fact here at Pocono, you talked about in the opening how there were no Cup guys racing. A lot of times we'll see guys get the lead and stretch this baby out. That's not happening today. The teammates are racing hard for the lead, and Miguel Paludo's driving right up behind them.
Here comes a challenge for the lead, going down Long Pond straightaway. To the inside, Ryan Blaney. To the outside, Ross Chastain. Blaney's going to take the top spot as they go into the tunnel turn.
All clear. Nice and smooth now.
How about that for Ryan Blaney? First time ever at Pocono. He's grabbed the lead inside of 10 laps into the race.
Early in this race, I'm also loving what I'm seeing as far as multiple lines. Guys are running down at the bottom of the racetrack. They're also running 2 and 3 lines up.
That's what's cool about Pocono. Now that it's got a little age on it, you've got all kinds of options. Look at Kurogi. He's right down underneath that yellow line on the apron trying to pass Jeb Burton, and he's holding them off right now. There's James Busher right behind those guys as well. James is drafting up on these 2 racing each other.
What an amazing job Brandon Igalski and all his folks did on the repaved job at this racetrack.
How about that 186 miles an hour down in the corner? Look at Kurogi. He's going to make the move on Burton. He's faster than him right now.
You can hear Kuroga having to get out of the gas because he was quicker through the center of the turn. And now the battle for second.
Todd Bodine took advantage of Miguel Paludo's move on the inside of Ross Chastain. That opened up the door for Bodine, and Bodine's going to drive from 4th to 2nd on the short straight.
How about a little 3 wide action on the Long Pond straightaway?
You'll have that.
So Ross Chastain has dropped back after racing up front for the first 10 laps. He's fallen all the way back to the 4th position. So Blaney has Todd Bodine chasing him down now with Miguel Paludo, Ross Chastain, and Joey Coulter in the top 5.
Todd Bodine saying, I got some good races left in me, boys. You give me a good truck and I'll show you. And he's doing just that early in the going here. Looks like Ross's truck has gotten a little tight. See how he slides up high in the center of the corner? That means it's probably not cutting as good as it needs to, and he isn't able to get that launch off. And that'll really hurt you here at Pocono. Exiting the corners because of these long straightaways is probably the most crucial part of your setup.
And I think Ryan Blaney probably recognized that of his teammate Ross Chastain. Said, if I stay here, we're going to be caught, so I better try to make my move now.
Ryan Blaney got his first win in the Camping World Truck Series a year ago. Looking for win number 2 as he leads the field at Pocono. Can he hang on for another 39 laps? Weeknights, the Hub delivers the ultimate recap and highlights from the world of NASCAR. Our experts will break down all of the mayhem. Plus, you'll get the latest breaking news. NASCAR Race Hub. That's weeknights at 6 p.m. Eastern. Only on Speed. Ryan Blaney has a half a second lead over Todd Bodine. Miguel Paludo back there in third. Ross Chastain and Joey Coulter still your top 5. Let's go back trackside to Hermie Sadler.
Well, Rick, when Ryan Blaney was making his way to the front, pretty happy with his truck. A little bit snug on center out, but now that he is out front and got that air on the nose of this truck, he's picked up a little bit of a free condition in the middle of turns 3 coming off onto the front straightaway. So they are concerned that they will need to make an adjustment when they come down pit road. He's losing a little bit of ground to Todd Bodine, who's closing ground in second. The 29 plans to pit on lap 25 for fuel and adjustments.
So right at halfway.
Yeah.
We've talked about the pit window being anywhere from 28 to 32 laps. They'll have plenty of fuel to get to the end, as long as they don't have the green-white checkered to deal with.
Phil, you talked during the break, we were talking about the speed that John West Townley is showing. Look at John West. He drives around Jeb Burton there. That gets him up to the 12th spot. Jeb's falling back, and John West is moving forward. He's got a fast truck and making some ground.
Yeah, John West was the fastest truck on the racetrack and then came right back and was the 3rd fastest truck the very next lap. So Mike Beam and his guys have John West tuned up here.
And you can see how deep he got into turn 3 there. He was able to drive way away from Jeb Burton as he entered that turn, and he was able to keep the truck low. So obviously it's handling well. Now he has his eyes set on Johnny Sauter, who's running 11th.
29 trucks still on the lead lap as we've completed 16 on lap 17 of 50. Ryan Blaney and Ross Chastain, the only 2 drivers to be up front.
We got the report that Ryan Blaney was going to pit around lap number 25. The thing you don't want to do here is run out of gas. And the guys, if you're running up front like Ryan Blaney is, Todd Bodine is, you can stop here, fill this thing up with fuel, put tires on it if you want, and stay on the lead lap. So these guys recognize that. They just want to get where they have enough cushion for a possible green-white checker, get in here and get that work done. And if the caution comes out after that, so be it. They'll have track position.
This is a tale of 2 takes here. We talked about Jeb Burton. He started in the 4th position. He's fallen all the way back outside of the top 10. And look who's caught him. Bubba Wallace is trying to pass Jeb. That shows you how good Bubba's truck is. He's making up for all that lost ground early.
Joey Coulter and Herman Quiroga fighting for the 5th spot. Coulter has it. Quiroga trying to take it away on the inside.
Yeah, a lot of the talk in the garage area was that Herman Quiroga's truck was extremely good. You see the out-of-box Toyota there. See him side by side through the tunnel turn. You're not supposed to do that. We used to not be able to do that for sure.
Yeah, but it's tough going if you do that. You can see Quiroga losing a little ground. He should have an advantage as they enter 3 here on the low side. But Coulter drives her on in there, doesn't he?
Drives in a little bit harder, uses that higher line, keeps the momentum up as we see Quiroga all the way down to the bottom of the track, and Coulter comes out just in front of that 77.
And that's just smart. We talk about how these trucks lose aerodynamic downforce when you're side by side in the corner. Quiroga knows that. He's learned that, even though he's only raced he's a rookie, but yet he understands that he can't get himself in a bind and throw his race away, even though he's a lot faster than Coulter right now, it looks like.
He runs down there side by side with him, and he said, okay, if I can get the guy on the outside out of the throttle a little bit, I'll be okay. I'll be unmolested when I get down to the next corner. He's going to try to do the same thing now into the tunnel turn.
Great turn number 1 as he has the momentum, gets by Joey Coulter. Herman Quiroga moves up to 5th.
Love it. That's a great move, great patience, and was able to make a safe pass.
And it just took him 1 lap extra to be a little bit on the conservative side, and now he has no issues. And there James Bush now looks to the inside of Joey Coulter. James is on the move.
Want to drop back through the field. We're going to start off with Ryan Blaney out in front. Hermie.
Well, Rick, as we just reported, Ryan Blaney, once he got out front, his truck has continued to free up a little bit, especially in turn 3. They're going to pit on lap 25 to make some adjustments, get some more Sunoco fuel. The 30 of Todd Bodine, great run for Todd. First ever run in a Chevrolet for Turner Scott Motorsports. He was making a run up to the rear bumper of the 29 of Ryan Blaney, but once he got within 5 or 6 truck lengths, his truck has started to tighten up a little bit, so Todd has backed off a little bit, saving his stuff. He'll be on pit road as well, planning at lap 25. Ray?
Miguel Paludo runs in third. Hermie, this truck was brand new at Texas, and they've already posted 2 top 10s with it. Miguel said his water temperature started to climb earlier. He was a bit concerned. It went up to about 260, but it has dropped back down now, so they're feeling okay with that. The number 19 of Ross Chastain running in fourth right there. Ross has said his truck's starting to get a little bit tight on entry, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment on him. The number 77 of Herman Quiroga running in fifth. I talked to him before the race started. I said, how do you prepare for an event like this? He said, I've watched tape, but where I come from, there's nothing like Pocono. But he said, I really like the challenge of each of these 3 corners here on this tricky track. Hermie?
Well, Ray, our defending champion James Busher is finally starting to make his way to the front slowly but surely. He was not making much headway in the first 15 or so laps, but the last 5 laps starting to make some ground. His truck started off a little bit on the free side. Now he's complaining a little bit of tight on entry. They're also planning to stop on pit road in about 4 to 5 laps. Ray?
Joey Coulter starting to drop a few positions here. He's back to 7th now in that Fox Sports 1 race truck. He'll have that same paint scheme when we go to Michigan in 2 weeks. And by the way, that network will debut on the 17th of August, and we will have the first NASCAR coverage. You can watch the Camping World Truck Series right there on Fox Sports 1. Right with Coulter having a really good battle has been Matt Crafton in that Menards and Ripid Energy race truck. Matt Crafton has never led a lap here at Pocono, but as I said in the pre-race show today, he has posted top 10 finishes in each of the 3 times that we've been here to Pocono. Hermie?
Well, Ray, Ty Dillon started 11th. He is up to 9th on lap 22. His truck has been tight since they dropped the green flag, especially in traffic. The 3 is looking forward to getting on pit road and making some adjustments to Ty to get him closer to the top 5. Ray?
Well, Hermie, let's finish our top 10 drop back with Timothy Peters. He told me in the pre-race show they wholesaled changes all across that truck. They had it up on jack stands after practice, took all the springs and shocks out of it. Butch Hilton threw a bunch of stuff at it. It's a brand new chassis, and it certainly didn't perform in practice the way they had hoped. But he started this race deep in the field. He's moved up to 10th, and right now we're going to get a start to pit stops. Here comes Timothy Peters.
Timothy Peters and the 19 of Ross Chastain both on pit road now, so green flag pit stops have begun.
Peters is coming down here on lap 22. They'll roll down. We see the 19 is already in the pits. They are going to go with right side tires. They're going to put Sunoco fuel in. We'll see if it's a 4 or 2 tire stop for these guys. The 19 is in the pits first. You see Ross Chastain there. This is a lengthy pit stop. As they work on that truck, it'll be 4 tires for Peters. Plenty of fuel there, and both of those trucks are away. Count them in on lap 22.
A lot of time waiting for the gas there on the 19 truck of Ross Chastain. I believe I might have went ahead and put 2 more tires on it. It was much time as he sat there. You could see Peters right behind him came in after him and didn't leave that much longer, and he did get 4 tires.
Yeah, both of those trucks were able to stay on the lead lap. That's them right in front of our leader. Here comes the 3 truck, Hermie.
Yeah, the Ty Dillon, the 3 truck coming down pit road, as we reported, his truck has been tight since the drop of the green flag. They're going to put 4 tires on this truck as well, Sunoco fuel, and a small chassis adjustment and air pressure adjustment as well for the 3.
So Ty Dillon on pit road. Race leader Ryan Blaney just on the back bumper of Timothy Peters. Now Timothy Peters was just on pit road, so he got out just in front of race leader, but we know that Ryan Blaney will have to come to pit road here momentarily.
And Rick, that's quite a commitment too you have to make. We saw those guys charging to the end of pit road. Timothy Peters sliding his tires a little bit. You come off that track running 180, 90 miles an hour and have to get it down to pit road speed as flat and as long as the entrance is to pit road here at Pocono. You really work hard to get it down to pit road speed.
Hermie.
The 30 of Todd Bodine brings his Turner Scott Motorsports Chevrolet to pit road. Pretty good until he got in traffic, chasing down the 29. Then the truck tightened up, but Todd wanted no chassis adjustments. It'll be a slight air pressure adjustment for the 30. Also, James Busher making his way down pit road. It'll be 4 tires, Sunoco fuel. James liked the way his truck was handling later in the run. Just a slight air pressure adjustment for the 31. Ray.
If you look in the right rear, you'll see 1 round of track bar change for Matt Crafton. They're going to put 4 tires on it, Sunoco fuel also. Crafton saying his truck is pretty good on entry, just a little snug in the middle. They put plenty of fuel in it. Busher will get away on pit road ahead of Crafton. I also saw his teammate Johnny Sauter coming down pit road. We also saw the 7. Hermie?
Yeah, the 29 Ray of Ryan Blaney coming to pit road. It'll be 4 tires. Sunoco Fuel calling for a track bar adjustment. This truck got a little bit loose in turn 3 once the 29 got out front. 4 tires, fuel, and track bar for the 29.
Miguel Paludo has taken over the top spot as we're seeing a truck on the left side of your screen slow on the track, potentially maybe ran out of gas.
I think that's probably going to bring out the caution flag. NASCAR officials are watching that truck to see if it can get going. There is an access road on the inside of the tunnel turn, but not sure if that truck's going to make it there or not.
Yeah, we talked about earlier running out of gas and how costly it is here. These trucks are aerodynamic bricks. They're not going to coast far. You run out of gas going into turn 1, there's no way you're making it back.
Ryan Blaney's trying to get back up to speed. And you saw the 30 of Todd Bodine get by Ryan Blaney.
This is a critical time for a guy like Miguel Paludo and Armand Quiroga, getting to pit road without making a mistake. They've got trucks fast enough to win, Ray. They just can't make any mistakes on pit road.
And the thing for the 32 is they really don't know exactly which way to go on the adjustments. Miguel has said this thing has been on the razor's edge. 1 second it's a little bit tight, the other it's a little bit loose. So Jeff Hensley in a bit of a quandary of exactly what to do. We see on the right side of your screen the Otterbox Toyota is also in. They are going to work on that. Air pressure on the right side. They will do 4 tires on the left for Miguel Paludo. A little bit of a slow stop there on the back corner. The Otterbox truck is getting 4 tires also. Miguel Paludo will be back to the racetrack, and so will Herman.
Had a bit of a holdup on the right rear corner of that 32 truck of Miguel Paludo.
Jeff Burton having service done to his number 4.
And Rick, if you saw on the back, there was a big adjustment there, and he's going to stall it. Jeff Burton stalls it, but they went 3 rounds on the track bar, so Mike Hillman calling for a big change.
And they needed that big change, Phil. Ever since this race started, Jeb's been falling back through the field, so they're only going to get 1 shot at it. You better do something big if you're not any better than he was.
Brendan Newberry coming off of pit road. Also, Max Gresham in the 8 comes off of pit road. Out in front of the field, it's Joey Coulter. And that Fox Sports 1, number 18.
That's another truck that's probably going to have a pretty significant adjustment. He's out in front, but it's not handling exactly like he wants it to, and he's got a pit stop coming up.
Guys, it's playing out just like we talked about. This short race, 50 laps, you're going to maybe have 1 crack at it. These guys had to do it under green. You take a lot of extra time even to put wedge or adjust the track bar other than air pressure. They're not able to do the types of things that possibly they would like, so they're going to have to put a Band-Aid on these things, maybe hope to get a caution later to make some adjustments, but this sure has a green flag feel to it.
Joey Coulter flirting with the pit road or pit window that we discussed earlier, 28 to 32 laps.
I think a lot of these guys feel like the times hadn't fallen off a great deal, so they went ahead and got their service done. Not going to worry about how the tires will be at the end of the race. They're confident with how the tires are holding up. So Coulter's stretching it out here. I don't know if that'll turn into an advantage at the end, but he's losing a lot of ground right now because he's on those older tires.
And remember, you can't run as far in the very beginning of the race because you have the 3 pace laps. You have 7.5 miles of pace laps of fuel that you burned out of it.
Ryan Blaney came out after his pit work, and he was running just behind the 17, was able to actually pass that 17. Now we're seeing race leader Joey Coulter slow it down to 55 miles an hour on pit road, and he almost stopped on pit road.
I think he was well under his speed there. It didn't look like he got on pit road good at all.
Right.
Joey Coulter very tight on exit. He's a little bit free on the way in. They're going to do right sides and 2 rounds down on the track bar. Harold Hawley won the race yesterday, calling the shots for Corey LaJoie. They felt like they started out with a pretty good package, but Joey says it gets air on the nose and it really takes off. So they'll make some adjustments here to try to get it a little bit better. And 2 tires and he's back to the race.
So Joey Coulter came off of the racetrack as your race leader. Now Darrell Wallace Jr. is being scored as your race leader. He will also need to still come on to pit road. Just 21 laps remaining. Ryan Blaney's been awful strong, as has Darrell Wallace Jr. Could we have a first-time winner today? Darrell Wallace Jr., your race leader when we went away, came to pit road. That put Todd Bodine now in the driver's seat as far as being out front of this field, and he was the first one to have come off of pit road. Now it's time for our AT&T race break. Start of this race delayed by 25 minutes because of rain earlier today.
Early on, Darrell Wallace Jr. changes lanes before the start-finish line. That will put him to the back of the pack.
We saw a great battle between teammates. Ryan Blaney takes the lead away from Ross Chastain on the low side heading toward the tunnel turn. So Brad Keselowski's truck's running at the front early. Ryan Blaney really strong.
Ryan Blaney has already led 15 laps. Todd Bodine, after coming onto pit road, making a few adjustments, has been the fastest one to get back out on the racetrack and out in front of this field.
He had about a 3-second lean on Ryan Blaney after they both made their pit stops. Ryan now has closed that up to about a 1.5 seconds. Both those trucks really, really fast.
4 tires for Todd Bodine. The majority of the field took 4 tires on what we believe could be the only pit stop of the race. See if that's good enough to win this. Look at the move Paluto's making to the bottom, trying to get the second spot away from Blaney. I think he's going to make it.
Looks like Ryan may have been held up a little bit by that 5 truck of Tim George Jr. that slowed his momentum enough to allow Paluto to get that run on him.
But I'm telling you, Phil, that Paluto truck is fast. Lap after lap, he's been able to close in on Todd Bodine. Now he's made his way around Blaney, and the only one truck ahead of him is Bodine.
Bodine has a 2-second lead over Miguel Paluto, Herbie.
Yeah, Rick, and what a day it's been so far for the 30 team and Todd Bodine. Cannot tell you how difficult it is for a driver to come in for basically a one-off deal to run for a different team. But I tell you, these guys got it done on pit road, including Todd and team. Todd did a tremendous job hitting the pit box, getting off pit road, but this team nailed their pit stop by my watch right at 13 seconds on a green flag pit stop. They got the 30 out front, and now Todd is trying to bring it home.
You know, this has to be a little bit of a measure of redemption for Todd Bodine. Started off this season, had a great truck at Daytona, really helped Johnny Sauter win that race when he was a part of ThorSport, and then just hasn't had the finishes that we've come to expect from our 2-time champion. But he jumps in this Turner Scott Motorsports truck, and whatever happens from here with 16 laps to go, it's been an outstanding run for Todd Bodine.
Yeah, he wants to close this deal worse than he can taste it. He's so close. He's done the job. He's got himself in a position to win. He needs to close the deal. But I'm telling you, I don't think he's going to be able to hold off Miguel Paluto. Lap after lap, Miguel is faster. We've seen speed out of Miguel all year long. He is coming. Another couple of guys with solid runs in the top 5. Ty Dillon right behind him, James Busher. So the trucks you expect to sort of surface at the top of the running order have done just that as this race winds down.
And a couple of the trucks that we thought may be contenders for that first one, Miguel Paluto, Herman Quiroga, both of those trucks right now running in the top 4.
You mentioned the gap being closed between Bodine and Paluto. It's under 1 second now between Todd Bodine and Miguel Paluto. Ryan Blaney running in 3rd, Herman Quiroga, and Ty Dillon your top 5.
It's going to be really important for Quiroga and Paluto not to get over zealous in the late stages of this race. I mean, this is a chance for them to win. They're so close. They've got to stay calm if they're going to pull this baby off.
And keeping track of where our champion, or at least championship contender, leading the points right now, Matt Crafton looking for another top 10 finish. He's in the 9th position. But up front, it's a 2-time champion in the Camping World Truck Series, Todd Bodine, leading the Pocono Mountains 125. He has an 0.8 of a second lead over Paluto. Phil, you mentioned earlier you thought this race might have a green flag feel to it. Well, since the first caution that came out on lap 1, we have been caution-free.
And that's the battle for the lead. Caution-free all this way, and Todd Bodine leads Miguel Paluto and Ryan Blaney by about a second.
They have a comfortable lead right now over the 4th place truck, Herman Quiroga, but right now this battle is heating up.
It is that, and you know, interestingly enough, all the way through the top 10, we see guys spike up with the fastest time. Back in 9th place, Johnny Sauter, fastest time a couple of laps ago. Also Matt Crafton. So if there is a caution late, I don't think these guys will come to pit road. It's going to get really crazy when they restart them. I know the guys leading, they like that big gap they've got over 4th place. They just soon this baby run on out under green.
Coming up on 11 laps to go, Miguel Paluto still trying to chase down Todd Bodine. A great story. Bodine getting into the 30 truck this week for Turner Scott Motorsports has Team Fox, which is Parkinson's Research, on the hood of that number 30, as well as Whelan as his sponsors. Michael J. Fox and Team Fox doing the Parkinson's research.
And remember his teammate Miguel Paludo. Todd knows that Miguel Paludo has the same equipment he does out of Turner Scott Motorsports stable. So right now Miguel's closing in.
And Team Fox and Wheeling Engineering and all the folks that's provided Todd Bodine with this opportunity, they're being paid back tremendously. Todd's done an amazing job leading this race late in the going. I talked about how the Paludo trucks and Ryan Blaney and Quiroga had to be calm as they raced toward the checker. Heck, I can't even stay calm, and all I'm doing is talking about this. I know how hard it is to win one of these NASCAR races, and Todd Bodine wants it so bad, and the guy behind him has never won one before, and he's coming.
Speeds at the line. Bodine. Is he quickest? No. Second fastest. Fastest was Ryan Blaney that time by
a 100th of a second. All three of the first trucks ran within a 1/2 of a second of each other.
Ryan caught a bad breakthrough. He caught Dakota Armstrong right as they entered turn number 1, slowed his progress a little bit on this lap.
Need to take a quick break. We have just under 10 laps of racing to go from Pocono. Can Todd Bodine hold on and get back to victory lane? It's been 23 races. Miguel Paludo still looking for his first. Cautions breed cautions, but we hadn't had one since lap number 1. Well, the second one has come out as we have just 9 laps of racing to go. Debris in turn number 1 will re-rack the field, send them 2 by 2 for the restart.
Oh, business is going to pick up now. How many wide are we going to be going in turn 1 on this restart?
We talked about how some of the fast trucks are back in the back of the top 10, and how Todd Bodine, Miguel Paludo, and Ryan Blaney were just hoping to cruise home and decided amongst themselves. That's out the window. Pit strategy could become a part of this equation as well. You know, you're back outside the top 10. You'll definitely come to pit road. If you're leading, I don't know if you can afford to lose that track position.
The times haven't fallen off that much. Goodyear brought a great tie here to this racetrack. I think if you're up front like Todd Bodine, Miguel Paludo, Ryan Blaney, Quiroga, Ty Dillon, I think you have to stay out. I don't think you can go back to 12th, 15th.
Somebody's going to roll the dice, and if you stay out, that could be considered rolling the dice, or if you pit. Be interesting to see what these teams do when pit road opens next time by.
And let me throw this question to the two of you. Will this be the last caution?
I wouldn't guarantee that.
About business picking up in turn number 1 after the restarts. Will that be the pressure of trying to get into 1 and get positions on the initial restart?
Oh, and that could be the position that's going to count at the end of the race too. So these guys are going to be up on the wheel.
This is good. This is good stuff.
8 laps to go. We'll find out who will choose to come to pit road when the field makes its way back to the front stretch.
If I'm that guy, if I'm in the top 3, I'm staying.
I got to stay out.
I'm staying.
I got to stay out.
How about Herman Quiroga? He's 4th right now with a very strong truck.
Got to stay out.
Very fast. He's got to stay out. Ty Dillon, he
give me the number. Where do you gamble? Is it 6? Is it Busher at 6?
I'm thinking it's around 10th. Yeah, the cut line.
I do too.
10th is Darrell Wallace Jr.
Somewhere around there, I'm thinking.
Sauter's got a new crew chief. It might be time for him to say, all right, Johnny, we're going to mix it up here. Oh, I don't want to make this decision, though, Phil. I'm glad I'm up here, aren't you?
Absolutely.
And Matt Crafton running in the 8th position, still looking for another top 10 finish to continue his march to his first championship.
Protecting a big point lead.
And who makes that first move to the left? It looks as though.
Is that Joey Coulter?
Joey Coulter's going to turn left. And sure enough, Joey Coulter on
Ross
pit
Chastain.
road.
Here comes John West Townley, Timothy Peters. Several takers outside the top 10, just like we thought, Bill.
Right.
And here comes Coulter. He said, I can't win like this. And Harold Hawley said, well, let's pit. They're going to put right sides on it and raise the track bar 2 rounds to try to loosen his truck up a little bit. We also see the 17 coming in. Timothy Peters says, I'm loose in. I cannot handle the wheel at all. They're going to put a rubber in the right rear. They'll drop that track bar all the way down as far as they can get it. And he said he just cannot roll through the center. The number 19 of Ross Chastain also in. They wanted to make a gamble here. They're going to make a big adjustment on the wedge. And those 3 guys coming back out, can they get to the front in the final 5 or 6 laps?
I got some news for Joey Coulter. He can't win with this pit stop either. There's too many people that stayed out, but he might finish better than he was gonna. He was back in the back half of the top 10, so maybe can fight up to the front, but I don't think he's gonna have anything for the win.
But I like the attitude. I cannot win from where I am with this truck, we're gonna have to do something to it. Harold Holly brought him in. I like that attitude.
And Harold Holly knows how to win. He's won the last 2 ARCA races.
Hermie, the 30, what are they talking about?
Well, let's hear from the crew chief, Jimmy Villeneuve. You guys decided to stay on the racetrack. A little bit of conversation also about which line to take. You got it to this point. Can Todd bring it home? And what are we going to see on this restart?
I think so. You know, Todd's a veteran driver. He knows what he's going to do. You know, we've given him a best truck we can. You know, Turner Motorsports does a great job repairing trucks, and we're just going to leave it in his hands.
Talk about how difficult it's been taking a driver this first race on this race team and the kind of results you've had so far today.
It has been no troubles at all. Todd's been great to work with. You know, Turner Motorsports, you know, has a great notebook, so we don't really need to, you know, to search much for speed. Todd's just done a great job for us all day.
Well, that's what we heard on the radio. Todd was talking about the restart line. Crew chief said, hey, you're the guy. We trust your judgment. We're behind you 110%.
Phil, you talked about the fact you love Joey Coulter's attitude with Harold Holly on the box. I got a pit. I can't win from here. Let's talk to him and ask him about that decision. Hey, Joey Coulter, it's Michael up in the speed booth. I love your attitude. You couldn't win from where you were. You came to pit road, got some adjustments. You think you can get back up to the front?
I think so. We took 2 tires that first stop. It just got a little bit tighter than what we thought we were going to get. So Harold brought us down there, gave me a pretty good adjustment, I think, and I think we got a real good shot to get back up there. We got a really good Tundra.
It looks like the truck is solid. We got a question from Twitter I want to fire at you and see what you think. It comes from KBM team, and it's to you. How tricky is a tricky triangle for the trucks at Pocono? I know that was a little tricky to say, but what do you think? Is it a tough track?
That is a tricky question, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun in these trucks. It is a little bit tricky, but that's what makes Pocono, man. It's a lot of fun. 3 different corners, 3 different bankings, 3 different straightaways, just 3 different everything. But it's a lot of fun. You know, these trucks, a lot of downforce, a lot of side force, so we're in the gas a long time, so it's a lot of fun.
Well, you got some new tires. You're in 12th spot. Make it fun for us, buddy. Go get them.
Thanks a lot.
You know, he came in the pits in 7th, so he only lost 5 positions, so that might be a good gamble.
It's going to make for good TV, I can promise you that. These guys, we've seen them 3 wide, even hinting toward 4 wide as they go into turn 1. With the differing tire strategies and the faster trucks now closing up on some of the front runners, this could be one of the wildest restarts of the year.
Joey Coulter will restart in the 12th spot. On August 17th, Motor City bragging rights are on the line in the Ultimate Backyard Brawl. Don't miss the action with the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series live from Michigan. August 17th at noon Eastern, only on, yes, I'm going to say it, Fox Sports 1. That will be the first live event that will take place on the new network.
14 days until one arrives. Fox Sports 1 is going to be such a cool network and so great for the Truck Series. We're going to cover NASCAR like it's never been covered.
1 to go for these drivers, and that means we'll have 5 to go when they come back. 4 to go when they come back. Let's hear from Ray. He's on pit road.
I'm up on the pit box with Jeff Hensley. He's been to victory lane 12 times in the Camping World Trucks. What kind of advice did you have for your driver, Jeff?
Just remember who he's racing and make sure he gets plenty of heat in his tires so we get off into 1 there that we can go. So we'll see what happens.
Todd's been really good out front, but is your truck equal?
I think out front we're probably better, but behind him. And catching him is one thing and past him was another. As we got closer to him, we got a little bit aero tight. But our AccuDoc Chevy's been really good since the time we unloaded. Miguel's done an excellent job, and the guys on pit road, I mean, it's been a really good day. It's been a really good, probably, month for this 32 team. We're kind of on a high right now, so we get us a win. That'd be really cool.
All right, go get him. That's Jeff Hensley calling the shots for Miguel Paludo.
We talked about this being a sprint. How about being a dash?
A 4-lap dash?
A year ago, the 11.
Todd was in the 11 truck right there. Moves down the racetrack, makes contact with Nelson Piquet Jr. Originally, Todd thought that it was an issue that Miguel Piquet took. Nelson Piquet Jr. took him out, but after watching the replay, found that wasn't the case and apologized. But you know how much he wants. He's a 22-time race winner in this series, a 2-time champion, and if he could win today, it may be the biggest win of his career.
It'll definitely be the biggest win, Phil, and that's why this restart is so dramatic. You got Todd Bodine, who is on the back end of his career, trying just to show people he still belongs here. He wants to win this race so he can race more. And you got Miguel Paludo, who's never won before. They both want it as bad as anyone possibly could.
And team owner Steve Turner also wanting to see Todd Bodine succeed.
Ooh, he's the team owner, and he knows all the emotions that are inside of the cabs of those two trucks. That's got to be hard for Steve to be able to try to figure out.
4-lap shootout. Pace truck makes its way back onto pit road. Field back in the hands of Todd Bodine. Miguel Paludo on the inside. Green flag back in the air, 4 to go.
They both did their job, got great starts. Todd Bodine just ahead of Paludo, but look at the move that Ryan Blaney's making on the bottom.
Blaney all the way to the bottom of the track, trying to take the lead away. 4 wide as we get ready to go into turn number 1.
Look at Todd way up the racetrack. He's up in the loose stuff.
Trying to hang on to that 30 truck. He drops all the way back, and he's going to get sideways. Coming out of turn number 1, the 30 sideways again.
You're right.
Trying to keep it off the wall. He does. The caution comes out again.
All right, you got it. We got flat tires, though.
Yeah, tires are flat on that truck. Obviously going to take him out of contention for the win. He can come to get pit road, get him 4 tires, but it's not going to happen today for Todd Bodine.
I mean, how many times have we seen on restarts in the truck series, whether we're at Michigan or Texas or Charlotte or Daytona, when they throw the green flag, the front row is vulnerable. The guys that are in third and fourth and on back get a little bit of a run, and they're able to take advantage of that run because of the aerodynamics of the trucks, and they spread out. They were 4 wide that time.
We knew it was going to happen.
Ryan Blaney had a great restart. Look at him immediately trying to get by Miguel Paludo. Paludo saying, wait a second, I don't want you by me, but so strong was the 29.
And look at everybody else coming. That's Quiroga up the middle. They had Todd Bodine having to drive hard into turn 1. It just wouldn't stick up there. When he came back down to try to get in line, there was nothing James Busher could do. Those trucks come together. Todd was just trying to gather things up. James was holding his line, and Todd was lucky not to hit anything.
Todd had to get back down into the groove. He had to get out of that loose stuff, and unfortunately, James was there.
Watch what Joey Coulter sees. He came to pit road. He got him some fresh tires. Look at the mess that happens right in front of him. There's 2 trucks dead sideways. Joey's got to figure out how to weave his way through there.
And he gets back into the gas. We'll ride along with Todd.
After 2, still inside. Still inside. You're all right, lock it down here, lock down.
You hear the tire pop there. Hermie's got flat tires. Has he made it to his pit stall yet?
Well, he's limping to pit road, and he did remind his team that he has 4 flat tires, and he will need something to assist in getting the truck up, lifted up to get the jack underneath it. But what a tremendous disappointment. You could hear it in the voice of Todd Bodine, the crew chief, everybody here, just the air out of the balloon. But they are on pit road. It'll be 4 fresh tires. They're not taking fuel to change the balance of the truck for the last couple laps here at Pocono, but big-time disappointment in the 30 pit.
Now, guys, we've got Ryan Blaney and Armand Quiroga on the front row. They're vulnerable just like the front row was on that restart. Miguel Paludo and Ty Dillon, a guy we talked about running just barely inside the top 5. You've got to look at those 2 trucks. Even Busher and Sauter has chances to drive up there and win the race.
Rick, you asked the question, do caution flags breed caution? I'm going to say yes.
Sure enough.
But this is Kansas back in April. Teammates battling for the lead. That's Miguel Paludo, the 32. Probably had the best truck at Kansas. He and James Busher were racing. They got loose on the inside, made contact. It knocked him out of contention. He's got another shot at it here.
Ryan Blaney, Armand Quiroga, Miguel Paludo, Ty Dillon, James Busher, your top 5. Miguel Paludo looking for his first win, as is Armand Quiroga. They're second and third.
And what about Joey Coulter? He went in the pit, came out on the pits in 12th. He's already up to 7th. Make that 6th.
So Joey Coulter.
He's in 6th spot, Phil, and I don't mind this right now. We can win from 6th, especially in a truck race at Pocono, because of all the draft and how crazy this restart will be.
And you know that Harold Holley probably put some air pressure in those tires, pumped them up a little bit. He knew it would be just like a qualifying session here. So right now, Joey Coulter does have the best tires of anybody up there in the top 10.
And like you said, probably a little air pressure. Got just enough heat in those tires on that first start to be dangerous. So talked about how smart Harold Holley is. He's put his guy in a chance to win. I didn't think we could win when we pitted, but maybe we're going to have a shot.
Ryan Blaney came on pit road on lap 25. We mentioned the possibility of multiple green-white checkers and fuel coming into play. This will be the first attempt at a green-white checkered. We can have up to 3. Fuel may come into play if we have more cautions.
If we have a third green-white checker, I think for sure it could come into play. They may be good for this one and maybe for another one.
How about the teammates 31 and 32, Ray?
Could be a lot like Daytona and Talladega here. James Busher is going to get right up on the bumper of Miguel Paludo to try to help them get a really good start. And watch how far down to the inside those guys will go. We saw that 32 really going way out on the fan out. I think those two are going to try to work together.
Well, you got it. That's a great plan if it comes together, but when you push another guy, you can make him spin his tires, and that could be disastrous. They've got a great opportunity to use each other, though, to drive up on that front row starter.
You know, with so much going on, we really haven't talked about the great move by Ryan Blaney to get that lead on the restart.
Huge move, and he went all the way to the bottom of the racetrack to get by Miguel Paludo.
And same thing with Armand Quiroga to get on the front row with Blaney. He drove up the middle to get him 4 wide and take away that second spot.
Randy Kaiser takes the pace truck back onto pit road. Field in the hands of Ryan Blaney in the 29.
This could determine who wins the race, Rick, this start. Who gets a run?
Ryan Blaney with a great restart. Down to the bottom of the track goes the 77 of Armand Quiroga.
The drafting help from Quiroga, and Paludo is going to get him the lead.
Here comes Armand Quiroga out in front of the field. Ryan Blaney on the high side trying to fight for second now with Miguel Paludo.
How about Joey Coulter? 3 wide on the outside of Ty Dillon.
Joey Coulter trying to get up front once again.
Matt Crafton diving.
Oh, and into the wall goes Ty Dillon. He hits
Johnny Sauter.
Hold her straight.
Sauter also into the wall. Those two make contact and into the wall they went.
Dillon trying to close the door on Sauter. Sauter was already there. There was nothing Johnny could do.
Caution once again. This means a second attempt at a green-white checker. Now you've got to start thinking, did we pack it full enough of fuel?
Well, if you're Armand Quiroga or Miguel Paludo, the guys up front, you're really wondering that. One guy that doesn't have that. Well, we didn't see Coulter put any gas in his truck. These caution flags, though, Rick, I think they've got the guys enough cushion they can race all the way to the checker.
Stay out. No, come on, pit road. Pit road.
These two haven't decided yet exactly what happened.
I think Johnny
has frustrating drivers.
Johnny has an opinion on what happened.
The frustration, I'm sure, is very high for both teams. The 3 stopping in his pits. Also involved, the 28 of Dominic Casola.
It looks like Dominic may have more damage than the other 2 trucks that were involved. He came along after the fact.
3 wide.
You can see Coulter with those fresh tires drives on the outside of Ty Dillon. And when Coulter goes by, it looks like Johnny Sauter is filling the hole, and you can tell he's all the way up to this cab.
Yeah, Johnny had a run going because of the momentum of those trucks running side by side. Here we go. You see Johnny is there. He had his nose up in there, but he got there quick, and I'm sure Ty Dillon's spotter may have said clear before Johnny really had that run on him.
A lot of damage to the front of that truck. They'll make repairs, get him back out there. We'll try another green-white checker when we return. Armand Quiroga and Ryan Blaney are going to make up row number 1 as we get ready for the second attempt at a green-white checker in the Pocono Mountains 125 presented by Toyota.
Miguel Paludo pushed Quiroga to the lead. He's behind him again, but Phil, that truck of Joey Coulter, 4th spot, fresher tires than anyone. Look for him on the outside.
Quiroga's proven that he will go all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack to keep those guys from getting behind him or getting by him.
Green flag back in the air. A great restart for Armand Quiroga. Can he hang on to it? He's got Paludo coming up behind him. Here comes Blaney now on the high side.
Paludo takes him 3 wide. He doesn't want to push him. He wants the lead.
Paludo trying to take the top spot away. 2 wide as they go into turn number 1. Blaney's going to have the advantage as they come out.
Look at Joey Coulter going to the outside of Paludo. Remember, 4 fresh tires on that Fox Sports 1 truck.
Keeping the momentum up is Joey Coulter. He takes second away from Paludo. Paludo trying to bounce back. He's got help behind him.
Had a lot of drafting help.
What about my man Matt Crafton outside the top 10? Now he's racing inside the top 5 and going for the win.
Quiroga was not able to clear Coulter.
Coulter trying to hang on, trying to get by Quiroga. Ryan Blaney in front. Miguel Paludo running second through turn number 3. This time by, the white flag will go in the air. One more time around for Blaney.
That means we will finish it. The next flag that comes out will be the final flag. Look at him, 3 and 4 wide on the front stretch.
And a truck is coming off of pit road right now. That will create mayhem in turn number 1 as he goes a little bit slower through there on the apron. But out in front, it's Ryan Blaney, Miguel Paludo running second.
Look at Quiroga, clears Coulter, was able to grab that 3rd spot. Jeb Burton looked like into the wall off turn 1.
Look at Ty Bodine fighting his way back up into the top 10.
Oh, look at that push Crafton just gave.
Coulter has an issue with the right front of that truck.
We had an issue with Matt Crafton shoving him out of the groove, and Matt loses his nose, and here comes Ross Chastain racing in the top 5.
Here comes Bubba Wallace, James Busher side by side.
I'll be surprised if they all make it through this turn. Look at Hornaday down on the bottom.
Coming through.
Busher's getting loose.
Turn number 3, around goes to 31 of Busher. They're spinning behind him, but the checkered flag's going to go to Blaney at Pocono.
Let me do this, guys. Let's front off a 4 here in the grass. Everything will be good when you get back. Nice job, Blaney.
Some contact being made.
Right, great job.
Is that John West Townley? He was sideways coming to the checker, racing with, looked like Chad Hockenbraugh. Chad did a nice job. Top 15 place finish.
It's amazing the maturity that young man in that 29 truck has shown since he got into NASCAR.
Ryan Blaney, just 19 years old of High Point, North Carolina, gets his 2nd career NASCAR Camping World Truck Series win. A hard-fought battle for Blaney. When we come back, we'll see him in victory lane. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on speed by Toyota. Let's go places. Brought to you in part by Camping World, America's largest retailer of RVs, parts, accessories, and service. Visit campingworld.com today. By Aleve, 2 pills, all day strong, all day long. And by STP. STP and go.
Drama.
An incredible finish here at Pocono Raceway. 2nd green-white checker. And it was Ryan Blaney who's been able to stay out front and make his way to victory lane. Let's hear from the guy who was the first runner-up, Miguel Paludo with Ray.
Well, 3rd place at Michigan had been his best run, but today he betters that with a 2nd. The AccuDoc Chevy was really good, and how much fun was that racing for the lead, Miguel?
It was really fun. I mean, the whole weekend, you know, yesterday was fun. We were super fast, and today as well. I chose the outside on the start of the race, and I think it was the wrong lane. I know the other guys chose as well, but you know the guys on the bottom put us 3 wide. I had a shot in the last restart, and unfortunately couldn't get it clear. 29 got a good run. Congrats to those guys. Really proud of AccuDoc, Turner Squad Motorsports, all my guys. I mean, his 2nd place is huge for us. You know, we've been struggling a little bit and bad luck. But we are super strong this year, so we made some points in the championship, and I'm looking forward for the next races. I think we'll be good there.
All right, Oliver's dad has a pretty good day, comes home 2nd.
Rev Gus Glory. What a run by the 29 and the restart.
That's the first one that got him the lead from the 2nd row. Caution came out shortly after this with Ty Bodine getting turned around.
That 29 able to hang on and get to victory lane. And let's go there now.
Ryan Blaney getting some words of congratulations from Dad Dave. He climbs out in victory lane at Pocono. Ryan, your first win came on a short track in Iowa. Your 2nd win comes at a 2.5 mile racetrack at Pocono. What did you learn early in the race today that gave you what you needed to get it done at the end?
You know, these Ford motors really gave us the pull we needed on restarts, and that's what it came down to. And the restart before that, when I was the leader, you know, they just ganged up on me. They were pushing each other, and it's hard to stay in front if you're the leader. You're kind of just a sit and duck. Everyone lays back, but you know, I was fortunate enough to get a good restart at the end. 32 to take 7.73 wide and slow him down a little bit. And, you know, I don't think we could do it without these Ford engines and Cooper Standard and Draw Tight and Reese Tow Power and everything they do. And just got to thank Brad Keselowski for giving me the chance. And this is cool. This is a lot of fun.
That's Ryan Blaney. He's in victory lane. His car owner, Brad Keselowski, is on his way to Iowa, but his team is celebrating in victory lane. Rick?
Thanks, Irving. Take a look at our ace, most helpful pit crew. That 29 team.
Guys, we talked about it, guys. It was going to be a one and done on pit road for the most part. They did the job on that green flag pit stop. Got him out there in good condition. He held on for the win.
And he had enough tires left to do some tasty burnouts with donuts.
Another impressive run out of the 77 of Ramon Quiroga. Ramon standing by with Ray.
Well, this Otterbox Tundra was really good in practice, and you showed that it wasn't a fluke. It was good in the race. How much fun was that?
Well, it was very fun. I told Dan, that my crew chief, that the 77 Toyota Otterbox was great, and I had nothing to do. I was just driving it, and we went to the front. It was kind of easy, I will say, but then I couldn't keep it. You know, and those restarts when they draft, you can't catch them. So it was a good day for us, good day for points, a good day for Otterbox, and I'm very happy. Hopefully, this second part of the season we can start finishing in top 10 all races.
All right, you did it today. Ramon Quiroga comes home in third place.
I want to take a look at our point standings after 11 races. The Toyota unofficial point standings has Matt Crafton increasing his lead over Jeff Burton. Now it's 52 points.
Another top 10 finish for Matt Crafton, 11 for 11 this year.
I still think there's a lot of guys that are just going to lurk. Matt Crafton stumbles one race, and all of a sudden you're going to bring a lot of other players into this equation.
Big win for Ryan Blaney, jumping 5 positions in the point standings all the way up to 3.
And another solid run for Darrell Wallace Jr. 5 out of the last 6 races inside the top 10. He continues to mature and show the speed that it takes to run up front. So a lot of guys down in the bottom half of the top 10 that are going to fight their way up toward the top 5.
Ryan Blaney gets to celebrate and enjoy this win for 2 weeks, because the next time the trucks are back on the track is Michigan on August 17th.
High-speed truck racing at Michigan. High banks.
We'll see some more 3 and 4 wide racing in Michigan.
A wide racetrack, 3 and 4 wide. And I'm sure we're going to see some bumping and banging. It always happens in the trucks. Big smiles for Ryan Blaney, getting the win at Pocono. Now it's time for trackside.
It's a very simple sport. You got to find a ball.
Well, you just saw Ryan Blaney win the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race here at Pocono. Now these fans starting to climb out of their seats in the racetrack to come join us at the stage. You are sitting trackside. Hello, everyone. I'm Krista Voda. Welcome to Trackside alongside Rutledge Wood, Kyle Petty, and Caitlin Vinci. We are so glad to be back in Pocono. No heart-shaped hot tub here on the stage. And that is a good thing, because you would be in it, wouldn't you?
Yes, you would be. You know I would.
You would be.
I love it. Or the champagne.
You two would be in it together, maybe.
Oh, what?
Maybe.
If you put cold water in there, it's like a swimming pool.
Yeah, really.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
What if we put Jell-O in it? Would you be in it then?
Would not be surprised to find that here at Pocono either.
That's true. That might be in the
glass.
infield. Yeah.
Under the right circumstance, you can make bubbles in it.
That's true.
It's true.
I'm sorry, that was wrong.
All right, let's bring things back here. We have a big show today because it's we have an icon in the sport, the legend, the King will be
King
here.
is coming.
The King.
I just call him Kyle's dad.
Yeah.
And Kyle's dad's going to be here.
Yeah, and Kyle calls him the King.
I realized until, you meet a guy, he's this cartoon character, just bigger than life, but I also realized it's my best friend's dad. So it's really just like your old
That's
man.
Right.
It's a good thing. But we got more than that.
More than a king?
Our friends, the Spotter Trio.
Oh, yes.
They're back. It's the Go Bowling 400, gobowling.com 400.
Right, that's what the race is called Sunday, yeah.
So they decided they've got to go bowling.
It's perfect.
We'll see them.
We've also got a new Women in Wheels, a young lady from Richard Petty Motorsports, so it ties in with the whole King theme here today.
It's weird to go right after a truck race. I'm still so jacked up from that.
I know.
That was good.
And congrats to Ryan Blaney. That's cool.
Yes.
How about Crafton still kicking butt with the lead? Brother.
He has been consistent all year long, and he just kind of keeps knocking them out.
You did great.
That's
on
a truck
the
expert
race.
right there.
That's right.
Truck expert.
Sure is.
Why are you touching me?
You know
Stop
you
it.
We'll stop.
You know, speaking of the King, many have impersonated the King. Few have succeeded. Does your favorite driver have a celebrity doppelganger? What we mean, like Jeff Gordon, he gets compared to country superstar Brad Paisley quite a bit. So we want to know, who does your favorite driver look like? And more importantly, What do the drivers say when they are asked that question?
People always tell me I look like Tom Cruise from Top Gun.
Edward Norton? Pull up Edward Norton. Maybe there'll be the comparison. That'll be the body double.
I've heard that I look like Ben Affleck. I don't know if that's good, bad, whatever.
Somebody said, man, you look just like Mel Gibson. And I said, I can tell you one thing. I bet you Mel Gibson's sitting at a restaurant right now, and there's nobody walking up to him and saying, hey, you look like Robbie Labonte.
They said like Ryan Reynolds or something. I was like, I don't really see that. He's on that GQ magazine all the time and stuff, so if that's true, that's all right, I guess.
David Hasselhoff, but I think he's had some work done. I did get Botox. Can you tell?
Personally, I think I look like Brad Pitt, but... George Clooney, maybe. The guy from the Twilight movies.
Are you Matt Kenseth? I get asked that quite often.
A lot of fans come up to me like, you know who you look like? I'm like, no. Who? You're like Joey Logano. I'm like, no way. That is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Do you ever get that you look like Ricky Stenhouse? You're like, I get it all the time. And then they just look. Then they're like,
You look a lot like Clint Boyer.